Hello and welcome to English MO1A Essay 1 Essay Breakdown. After you get your grade, I will sometimes try to help you out in the notes that you see to the right of your paper. I will also give you additional comments. This week, I want to add on to this feedback and I want to show you what a paper looks like because some people are having problems with the basic formatting and where things go in an essay, in an academic essay at a college level. And so I'm going to start off by talking about the good. This is a paper that is in proper MLA format. As you notice, there's my name, there's the class name, the date, the title. All of this is double spaced. This is all 12-point font. And if you notice, we have indents at the beginning of every paragraph. That's all very good. No extra space between the paragraphs. That's all good. So we've got a lot of good things going on. We have a title. Good. We have a header. You can't see it, but it's up here. Let's see if I can help you see this. We have a header. Look, it's up there. And that is good. Some other things that were done well in this paper, which is on internet crime. I asked for an example paper, and the two choices were internet crime and fake news. This is the internet crime version of it, and it starts with a good thesis statement, at least the thesis statement that is on topic, and it talks about intellectual property and stealing. It doesn't talk about online, but I'm talking good now, so I'm not going to talk about that right now. It gives me 3 body paragraphs about copyright violations, counterfeit trademarks, and trade secret theft. So I have 3 crimes, and we're going to be looking for examples of those 3 crimes, and I get all of this from the thesis statement. That's good as well. Moving on. There are some specific examples that are given in this paper. In body paragraph 1, we go through the body paragraph, and at the very end, we get to a landmark case against Napster, which is a file sharing network, also a file stealing network. Many people had problems with the fact that people were taking music and downloading it to their computers. And here we are given a very specific case in which a company basically exits the American landscape because of a fine and a legal judgment against them. Next, we have a topic sentence for body paragraph number 2. This does sound like a theft or a crime. I'm not going to get into the critical parts right now. Number 1 is the good stuff, so we'll stay with that. And we have another thing that's talking about an Adidas America lawsuit. So we do have a trademark infringement, and those examples are given. And so the first 2 pages of this paper, I've got some really good things to look at, some good starts. Now we're going to go back over the first 2 pages and look at the things that I believe could be improved structurally and things that I would like to add to the paper. In the last section, I will also talk about minor grammar points that we need to change. But for right now, let's look at structural and content points. So we have 3 different types of stealing intellectual property. Does it really talk about online crime? I like your thesis. It breaks it down into 3 parts, but is it all online? I'm not sure. I get to the topic sentence here. This doesn't talk about online. Now, the second sentence does. It's talking about an information age, and so I believe that means digital age and digital copyrights. So there's a hint of copyright digital infringement here, but really it should be the first kind of examples of internet crime are digital copyright violations. And now, instead of talking about what the digital copyright is and copyright law is, this is an example paper. This isn't a definition paper. This is interesting, but it really doesn't belong. This could maybe be in the introduction, but you should jump directly into an example of a digital copyright violation. You don't need to define what that means. You can go directly into one of the landmark cases in digital copyright violation was with a piece of software called blank. Then research it, find out how that legal action finished, and show that it's an important part of what we recognize today as digital crimes. We have ideas that are basically, these are all important ideas about stealing novels and stealing works, creative works, but we don't have a specific example of creative works that were stolen. Maybe bring a criminal ring in here that stole all of these, I don't know, images and or intellectual properties and photographs, and then repurposed them and sold them to make money. And they were busted alongside, maybe the music industry, which is what the last point is. Okay, so what we're doing is we're lacking examples in an example essay. We're lacking specific examples of crimes committed in a digital way. We're talking a lot here about what copyright law is, but we're not talking about the topic of the paper, which is internet crimes. Copyright digital crimes is the first thing you should be talking about. All the way through MO1A, 70% of your grade is going to be being on topic and supporting the points you're making. That means research and structure need to go together. I need to know what the digital crime is, and then I have to have multiple examples of specific digital crimes in order to follow the paper and let it lead me to understanding what's important about the digital copyright crimes that you're talking about. How are they an important part of the criminal landscape in the internet? And you did a fairly good job. Like I said, at the very end, the student does talk about something that was very big in the music world. But that gets me to one other point that I'd like to make, which is don't end a body paragraph with a quote. I always want to hear your voice and your analysis afterwards. So talk a little bit about how Napster, or this Napster filing, was really the case that shut down file sharing on the internet and changed the way we looked at digital content. So this crime really reshaped our digital world. That would be beautiful to see right here, rather than just ending the paragraph with a quote and then letting us as a reader kind of fill in the blanks. Well, what did this crime really mean? Well, you know what it meant. You researched it. So find out, tell us, and move on. So the second body paragraph here, you'll notice is a little bit incomplete. It's a little bit shorter. There's a little bit less content in it, and this is what happened in a lot of papers. Okay, but let's look at the topic sentence because I have a little bit of a problem. The second type of stealing is counterfeit trademarks. Okay, does that mention digital stealing? In fact, this entire paragraph talks about logos, styles, patterns. It talks about Apple products, which is definitely a computer or technology company, but it doesn't talk about any online crime that is directly linked to the digital age. You talk about trademark and trademark counterfeiting, but that's been happening for a long, long time. And so defining the crime without adding that digital element is really what is lacking in this paragraph. So we didn't stay on topic. We did say stealing, so it's crime, but we didn't say with internet crime, and we never gave multiple examples of how the internet was used or how digital processes were used in order to steal and therefore break the law. So this is where I'll back up one more time. So we've talked about what's good. Now we're talking about what I would like to improve in the content of these first 2 pages. And now I'd like to talk about just some little errors that we need to fix in order to make things a little bit more complete. So I asked for a hook at the beginning of the introduction. That is a quote, a stat, or an anecdote. I would really like to see a quote about, how much the digital economy is affected by crime, or how many crimes are being committed a second on the digital, highways and byways. That would be very interesting because we can't commit as many crimes at home or in the real world as we can in an information age. So lay it on me. Let me know how many of these things are going down. It lets me know that you've researched the topic and have information that I didn't. And it provides it immediately. So I connect your understanding of the topic as being a little bit above my own. That's a great way to start a paper that's there to inform me. Okay, and you can look at just another small part when you look at a grammar error in a topic sentence. Okay, the first type of stealing intellectual property if copyright violations. Now I know this should be is, but in a topic sentence, it's a little bit like spelling my name wrong, and I've seen that, by the way, 1,000 times. When a student misspells my name or gives a different name, I've had like Professor Deidre, Williams. And I'm like, oh no. Um, when you don't show an attention to detail, especially in these very highly structural sentences like a topic sentence, it begins to worry the reader that they're not necessarily getting the information in a way that is structured and that you have taken a great deal of time to make certain it's presented correctly. Another thing that I would say, which is a small error, is when you look at the second body paragraph, and we have a Adidas America filing at the end, as I talked about before. I want to see your words, just like at the end of the first body paragraph. I guess this could be really a content problem or a small syntax issue. But I want to see your words in that paragraph. It's not a paragraph that is ending on somebody else's understanding of a crime. It's you explaining how that crime is important. The last small grammar point is this right here. If it is a semicolon, that means I need to have an independent clause here and an independent clause there. That means sentence here, sentence there. If it's a list, you might want to use a colon there because that does not require an independent clause on either side of the punctuation mark. So these are small things, big things, content things, structure things, things that will help you hopefully on your journey as we progress forward in paper writing. I did want to give you a little breakdown here so that when you are looking over some of the notes I give you on your particular paper, you can kind of match it up with some of the things that you see here. And there are a lot of good things happening here. And this is the way a paper should look. So at very least, you should know how the MLA format presents your paper, and then the little things that I'm looking for to help me understand that you're staying on topic, that you're giving adequate proof and details in your content paragraphs, and producing an academic work that will, like I said, we're trying to get to academic works where you realize you've done good work and you're proud of it. Because I'm telling you, once you're proud of your own work, a lot of my job is over, because you'll try to make basically you'll try to get back to those composition skills, and you'll try to make them better and better, and you will admire your own intellect as it shows up in your writing. And that is an amazing step forward, and I really want to see all of you get there. So from the hills above Castaic, this is Professor Gifford signing off.